If you ever have one of those days where it's not actually really particularly cold outside, but you just feel like the very warmth of your blood has been stole away, that's me today. It's raining, actually, a little bit. Kind of odd. It's we live in a place where I think the annual rainfall is, it depends on which person you talk to or what site, but when I was growing up, it was just right around 5 inches a year was what they would tell us, and I think they didn't like that because that would technically be a desert. Again, that I don't know what the standards are on that, but I think they didn't like the idea that we live in a desert, so they've been lying and telling people we get, I don't know, 7 inches a year. I don't know, but it doesn't rain much here, and when it does rain, it doesn't exactly come down very heavy, so you know, not really rain. But anyway, so I went out this morning, I took care of that stuff, I'm back, I uploaded my video, so it should be live right now. So that was for yesterday's video, which today's Saturday. I am working on a security door, and basically what it is, I have a friend that called me kind of frustrated. He has a little tiny apartment complex. It's like 4 units, like little tiny thing, but he has a laundry room, and they just put in some brand new washer and dryer, and they stole the washer and the dryer and a hot water heater, and they've got 2 hot water heaters, and it gets expensive, and he wanted to know if I could build him a security door to replace the one that was there. That I'm going to tell you right now, most of the security doors that you find like at the home center, they're absolute garbage. There are some that are better than others, and you do definitely get what you pay for. If you pay 90 bucks for a security door, you really didn't get anything that resembles security. They literally will grab them by the middle of the door, and they yank on them, and the whole door just buckles, and they're garbage. Don't buy them. Today, what I'm going to do, we're building one that is, it's going to have 1.5 frame, 1.5 square tube frame, 1.5 cross members. It's going to have a solid 14 gauge sheet metal for the panel. No perforation, nothing. It's kind of like a vault door, but not really. With anything that's called security, like a security door, security gate, security anything, really the best you can hope for is to discourage somebody from wanting through that one to go somewhere else. Generally speaking, you know, burglars and guys, they're not going to put any more time than they absolutely have to in breaking in. If they can't get in a little bit, they move on. If it looks like it's going to take too long, they will move on. They won't even touch it. So you have to at least have something that they don't recognize. It looks too difficult, and when it really comes down to it, if they do try, it has to be something that's just taking too much time, making too much noise, and they just say, you know what, let's go somewhere else. So that's what we're hoping to build today, or at least get started. I don't know how long I'm going to be out here, because I have some friends that are leaving the state. They're moving to Texas, and they're having a kind of a they're hanging around at a local pub that for people to come by and say hey and bye and that kind of stuff. And I'd like to stop by. It's dark out here. It's wet. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how many of the parts we can get cut for this, and just see how far I can get before sunset, which I'll have to go by the clock at what sunset is, or I don't know what I'll do, but it's starting to get dark out here, and I do want to shoot video, so let's get started. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on here. This is going to be a standard, pretty much 36 by 80 inch security door. Except, like I said, we're using 1.5 inch square tube. This is 083 wall, which I don't normally, I usually 065 is, I use on a lot of stuff. Like I said, he wanted it extra heavy duty. I could have gone to 1/8 inch wall 120 or something like that, but 083 is a little thicker without making the thing so heavy that you can't move it. So another thing what you'll notice is I'm using my chop saw, and I typically, well, let's cut that down. Let's take this to 35 7/8. I typically use my bandsaw. I love my bandsaw because it's quiet and it's relatively accurate. But I'm kind of under a time constraint. Like I said, this is Saturday. I am supposed to have this thing installed on Tuesday, which means it's got to be painted and everything. And there is some doubt in my mind as to whether or not I'll be able to meet that deadline. So, anyway, let's get this scribed. Goggles up so I can see. And right there. So, all right. Make another cut. All right, there we are. We got all the angle cuts, all the 45s that we needed to cut, and all I've got now are the square cuts. So I've gone ahead and rolled out my bandsaw now, and I'm getting ready to make another cut. This will be part of the exterior frame, the part that bolts to the wall, and so I just got to measure that and cut it. And let's see, two more. I think there's 2 or 3 more pieces I got to cut. So let's start doing it. All right, let's take a look here. We got it all welded up. I don't know if you can see that very well, but all the corners are welded, all the joints. Of course, I didn't weld here or here where I'm getting ready to cut it out, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get the, I got the grinder with a cutoff wheel in it. I'm going to mark this so I know exactly where to cut it, and then we're going to weld that guy in. So I'm actually pleased with how quickly this is moving along. So let's just keep moving and see how far we can get today. I just wanted to hit on this really quick. What we're doing is we're getting ready to weld this box in. This is the double lock box, and this is just a standard, you know, you can get these welding supply or whatever. I get these from my steel yard. But this is what we've done here is I've clamped another post along here, another piece of steel. It's a similar weight, same size, 1 by 1, 1.5 by 1.5. And the reason we're doing that, there's a couple of reasons. One is we want this to be in the actual location, exactly where it is, so that when the door's shut, it's all flush here. Another reason we want to do this is because anytime you weld on steel, it deforms the metal. In that heat effect zone, it shrinks and it deforms. So that means that when you build something, it's under tension, and then what happens is when you cut it, it deforms. It tries to return. So when I cut this section out, you'll note in the video, if I edit it such and it shows up right, you might see where as I cut through it, the blade actually got bound up a little bit. It's real subtle, because I'm real I really am conscious of the feedback from the blade, so I didn't let it actually bind up, but it does actually kind of put try to clamp the blade. This tries to more or less pull the frame back into where it's into the correct position, and it helps locate this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tack this all together and make it pretty. So I just wanted to stop and explain what I was doing here. All right, I was literally just talking about this, about how you weld on something and it warps it. Well, what we did was we welded that thing in place, the lock box, and then I started checking it. I was getting ready to weld the exterior frame together, and I had laid them down next to this, and this side goes that direction and this side also goes that direction. So what we need to do, what I'm going to try and do, is I've pulled out this monster clamp that I built years ago, and I've got this piece of 2" by 6 120 that I bought it a long time ago because I was going to use it for a bumper on my Jeep that you people have never seen. But anyways, we're going to see if we can straighten it back out, and I'll let you know how that turns out. Okay, so that worked. All I'm going to do right now is, oh gosh, let's see, this would be the top. Just lay these. Yeah, so that's much better. Yeah. Anyway, we're just going to lay these out and tack up the exterior frame of this thing, and then that's it. The rain's kind of a pleasant change. Let me turn around here so I'm in the light. done with it for the evening. Tomorrow I got to come back out and we got to finish it so we can get ready for paint. Hopefully it'll warm up enough to paint, because like I said, I have to have this thing ready to install on Tuesday, which means, let's see, actually I think Tuesday it's supposed to rain again. I'll have to double check, and of course that, you know, those soothsayers that run the weather channel, they don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, I come back to this. We're going to be doing the hinges. They're going to be, initially they were going to be barrel hinges. I may change my mind. I might put just regular butt hinge type hinges on it. But I think I don't know. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. And then we have the panels that go in set. They're 14 gauge sheet metal, hot roll sheet, and we're going to see if we can cut them and then break the edges so that they set down in here. I don't actually have equipment for doing that, so it should be interesting. What I think is going to happen is I'll score along where I want it to break, and then we'll fold it on the welding table, and at least we can get it close. So other than that, that's it for this video. So good night.